Hi, it's Honey again, and in this video it's just going to be a really all over the place update, as this is rather a rushed sort of Easter bank holiday weekend video. I haven't written notes or anything this time, so it's just going to come out as it comes out. So I have had a few things happen this month, a few little odd changes, a few little tweaks to just how things have been. For example, the support groups that I go to are both finished up at the moment because one relies on turn time and the other one is only a monthly thing anyway, so they're not actually due to be on until May basically, so the whole of April's been pretty sparse for that sort of thing. I don't feel like I particularly need any support at the moment or anything like that, but what I do think is happening, or what is different, is obviously it's a reason to go out, and it's it just breaks up the month, like, because they're basically one's like usually the middle of the month and the other one's the first week of the month. They're usually it basically it helps break up the month and you know, create a reason for me to go out, or if it gets cancelled for any reason, then I go to the cinema instead or something like that. That hasn't happened, so I've actually been quite withdrawn this month, which is quite strange for me, really. I do like to not necessarily go out with people and friends and things like that, but I do like to just go and do my own thing and have reasons to go out. That hasn't really happened this month, as I say. My hormone regimen at the moment is all up in the air because after my discussions with the consultant at the end of my second assessment, and the GRC don't move quickly on anything, which is so annoying. Obviously, as you all know by now, and if you don't, I have a private gender GP that I use and I get my hormones from. Trying to get the GIC doctor to work with or change the medications prescribed by that other doctor it's just painfully slow. I can't say it's a nightmare, it's just painfully slow. I'm at the point where my 3-month subscription with the gender GP is about to run out, so obviously I need a new influx of drugs. After speaking to this guy, he was like, oh yeah, I agree, I already detailed this in the previous video, but you know, we should keep your blocker the same as it is and we should increase your estrogen, you know, from patches of 150 to 175 twice weekly. I'm like, okay, cool. Trying to tell my gender GP that, and obviously I don't expect them to act without any information from the other doctor, but it's a nightmare because the other doctor at the gender clinic it's just so slow. It was February when I had that final assessment completed, mid-February at that. I left it about 6 weeks and then chased them up, and they were like, oh yeah, no, it takes about 6 weeks, so you can expect to hear something from us next week, as in a written report with a recommendation or anything that I could use to go to my gender GP and say, can you please increase my dosage? Instead, it's just, I've heard nothing. I've then chased them up again as my prescriptions become due because the gender GP doesn't want to change my prescription. So I was like, come on, you know, do something. They're like, oh no, Easter break. This was like a week out from Easter. You know, I wish we could all take 10 days off for Easter. For most of us, it's a 2 or 3 day thing, but there you go. Yeah, so I can't get any joy from him because he's not around to write up any of the reports from the conversations we've had, you know, in February. So I can't really get anything from him. I've gone to the gender GP anyway and tried my luck and said, look, blah blah doctor at the gender clinic is like, can we please increase this prescription? And instead they've come back to me with some weird alternative. They're not willing to increase my prescription as specified from 150 to 175 for whatever reason. They are then willing to prescribe me 100 milligrams of progesterone, which is apparently good for breast development and all this other thing. But the trouble is, I don't know that, and there's a lot of stuff out there that countermands that. It's a bit like soya milk sort of stuff, you know. Some of it says, yeah, it's like female hormone, blah blah blah, it will increase this, it will do that, you know, and then other things just say no, it's complete rubbish. We don't have the receptors to pick it up, so it's not going to work, you know, and it'll barely work on your average woman, never mind trans girls. So it's a bit I don't really know what to trust. So I have accepted this prescription simply because I am going to run out in like the next 6 days, so I had to accept the weird new prescription they're trying to give me. But I would have liked for it to just have been seamless for gender GIC doctors to have written up my report. I could have forwarded it to the gender GP and them just gone, oh yeah, okay, I'll, you know, under your expert advisement, they're both experts, but under your advisement, blah blah blah, and you know, you've done a physical examination, I haven't, so here we go, I will increase the prescription as advised. No, instead it's got to be, you know, some weird work between, and we'll see what happens. It's just to make things more complicated. GIC doctor has turned around and said, no, progesterone is a waste of time. This wasn't before I got the new prescription, this was just in that conversation I had with him. Progesterone is a waste of time for trans girls. We don't have uteruses, we don't have wombs. From a biological standpoint, there's very little point in us taking progesterone because we do not have the appropriate amount of receptors for it to really have any beneficial effects. And then on the other hand, there's lots of research out there that says that actually it can be good for breast development, and it can do this. It can help to maintain high levels of estrogen and things like that. And I don't know what to believe. And then on top of that, I've got, you know, the gender GP trying to prescribe this to me, so clearly they don't think it's a waste of time. So obviously I've accepted the prescription because I need to have my HRT and my blockers, so there's no way I'm going to turn down the prescription. I was just hoping to get it all sorted out, because now this is going to lead to a 3-month, I'm on this now for 3 months, and what happens, and it's a big break from the norm for me. My prescription has pretty much remained the same for a long time, and I felt more comfortable with the idea of just increasing my prescription. You know, why change what works? If it works, just increase the dose and hope for better results. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know if it's going to send me into mood swings, if it's going to cause additional breast development, or if it's going to somehow counteract the estrogen that I've been taking and therefore cause more problems. I have no idea. I shall have to do more research, I guess, but I just wish it wasn't me as usual doing all the legwork. It always feels like, and I suppose it is important to take control of your own transition and make sure you are doing the legwork, but at the same time it'd just be, I've got these doctors all these doctors around me, and it's still me having to figure out what's going to happen and how it's all going to work, or referee actually is more what I feel like. I feel like I'm refereeing 2 doctors, and that's not to say that I don't want either of them. I mean, I need the GIC, and I have lived off of the gender clinic, off of the gender GP service for 2-3 years. I owe that service so much, and would never, I trust it so much, and would never consider leaving it unless I had to. So I just really don't know. I just wish they could work together for what feels like the best result for me. I have started the paperwork for the GRC certificate. I've crossed my 2-year boundary, as I've been explaining a few weeks ago, and that, so I can start filling out the paperwork. I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not. It's a 16-page document that you can get off of the .gov website. It's a T450, and the leaflet that explains how to fill it in is a T451. This is for the standard single transition or gender recognition certificate application form. There are ones for people that are in civil partnerships, and there are ones for people that are in a conventional marriage as well, and those that are divorced. So, but for me specifically, I'm using the T450 application route. It looks relatively straightforward, but it's a bit like filling in your passport forms. Everything is like a trick question, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't have a leaflet that comes with it, the T451. So the information leaflet to fill in your T450 form is 24 pages, and the form itself is only 16 pages. So it's really not that straightforward, is it? If you need more explanation to fill it in than you do to actually fill it in. It's crazy, but I suppose at least the information's there. There are numbers and that you can call if you're getting lost and you're not sure what to put down for certain things. I'm going through old documents because of my having changed my passport, driving licence and my gender marker and my name and everything else now. I've just been using my identity and it's been great. And then of course trying to get this certificate, of course, here I am dragging out all these old documents and things. They want my birth certificate. Like, it's a bit like the passport again, you know. They want my birth certificate, they want doctors and diagnoses for gender dysphoria, they want proof from like pay slips and other things of having lived using my current names and IDs and gender markers. They want all this documentation, some of which supports my ID, but which is great. Like, I don't mind providing all the current stuff, all the stuff that goes back to that point, like February 2016, 17 when I got my passport. But trying to provide, but having to drag out, like, you know, name change document and that with all my old details. I might have to provide for some strange reason, I'm not sure, I need to read the documentation more clearly, but I might have to provide my divorce documents. Different chapters of my life, there's no intersection there. I don't see why it's relevant, but I'll have to reread it. I mean, my current status is single, so I'm going to fill out well, my current status as regard marriage is single. Sorry, BF. But yeah, it's single as regards marriage, so there's no documentation to fill in there. I haven't been living with my partner, so there's no civil or associated partnership where you live together and, you know, all that. So none of that applies. So for intensive purposes for this document, my relationship status is single, so that's how I'm going to be filling it out, and just hope that I don't have to dig out. I don't even know where my divorce paperwork is, you know. It's just, it went in a folder and that was that, you know. I had that chapter on my life closed for me by my ex, you know, so that's how they wanted it, that's how it is. You know, they want it out, we're out. These forms I've done about the first 4 pages. You don't have to fill in the whole form. It's a bit like your passport. So I do urge that if you're attempting to do this form, you have quiet time, quiet place. You can edit it online, which is great. So I'm doing that. I'm editing it in like Adobe Reader, and I'm just going to edit it all online, keep saving the document, and then print it off and put all the relevant documents with it together. When it's complete, I will do a video much the same as I did a video about my coming out at work. So there'll be a video for you know, completing your gender recognition certificate form. Even the GRC doctor was like a little bit confused, like, why do you even want this kind of thing? And I know there's a good chance the government's going to change the rules around it, but at the moment heaven forbid I ever get arrested, or you know, or I'm in a foreign country and I need medical treatment for something, without that gender recognition certificate, I am going to be put into male environments and treated as such. Also, it affects when you fill this form out and complete it, either you can tick the box so that they inform Her Majesty's Customs and Revenue and the Department of Work and Pensions, or you are, and it says it in bold black writing, you are legally obligated to inform them of these changes, because there are different tax brackets and different pension schemes and different retirement ages and things for whether you're male or female, and because of those differences, you're essentially committing fraud if you get granted your gender recognition certificate and you don't inform the tax office that you're, you know, of your new gender status. Then you are going to be committing fraud in the eyes of the government, because you're going to be either not being taxed enough or being taxed too much. You're either going to be retiring early or later than you should be, depending on what way you're going, because obviously, you know, there's female to male as well who it would make quite a difference to. I know there's going to be more parity as time goes on, and so it will mean less and less, but at the same time, you don't really want to be getting Her Majesty's Customs and Revenue or the Department of Work and Pensions on your back, because they will just, you know, either straight up put you in jail. At least you'll go to the right gendered jail, but they'll straight up put you in jail, or they will land you with fines that are so massive they make your brain split in two. So it's just best not to play games, and I will be ticking the box and allowing them to inform both those bureaucratic departments of the government as to what's going on. But anyway, thank you for listening, and I will catch you next time. For now, goodbye.